sat down and talked to me. What love's like, can lovers keep when life is born by dreams? The smell of rain and dusty air. The sun went out, but we stayed there. And carelessly, you tied your hair. We were young and unprepared. Fire burning bright, tearing through the new twilight, shook our souls and freed our eyes, and left us shaken, terrified. Sunshine in your faded cheeks, and you sat down and talked to me. Thank you. Can you turn the guitar down a little bit in the monitor? Sorry to be a pain. Thank you. Face to face, we're good like the ocean below. That borrows its blue from the sky. When the sun shines, it's like a pearl. Thank you. Do I have time for do another one or do one more? dark before morning, shivering in the cold. All the air that I'm breathing, I can see once I let it go. I'm awake but still dreaming, silly ideas again, and the comfort I came for, I died to defend. It silences everything. It silences everything. I say I love you too often, like holding on to a railing. How long till it's nothing? I will forget how this feels again. It silences everything.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Motif's Between the Notes. My name's Ben Shaw. We're here at the Parlour with John Farone. We're going to talk to him about his life, his experiences, his deep, dark secrets, the things that really make him tick, the experiences that he's trying to get to us through in song. So first questions first. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
All right, good.
How are you? Shooting the
I'm
questions
good.
right back.
No, I'm actually really good. Things are there was a lot of traffic on the way, so I was a little late. Got to admit to that. Got to cop to that. But other than that, not bad. So how's life been for you lately in this last year or so with music?
It's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Kind of the same old stuff.
I had a kid on the first day of quarantine.
Well, that's definitely not different at all.
Nope, everything's
Same.
pretty much business as usual.
There's a worldwide pandemic. You have a child.
Yeah.
Everything's just kind of like you're just going through the motions now.
Yeah.
How was that? So, is this your first child?
First kid. It was super intense. I was working from home, so I was with him all day, every day, which was cool. But also, there's no escape.
Yeah. You're always there.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do normally? Do you work on the side, or are you a full-time musician?
Yeah, no, I have a bunch of jobs. I just started a new job, an office job at the Champlin Foundation, which supports a lot of nonprofits in Rhode Island.
Nice.
And then I work at Whole Foods, doing the grocery life.
Oh, no, hey, man.
And then in between those, I do random construction-y things.
Oh, really? I mean, like independent contract work, or working with an independent contractor?
Just myself, really. I do like stuff for friends and family, but
Nice.
everybody needs something. So.
Yep. That's what happens when people know you're handy.
Yep.
It's like I'm a landscaper, and so anytime like family needs I worked on a tree like trimming crew for a while, and anytime anybody's got a question about trees, Ben, what do you think about that limb?
Yeah. It's like having a pickup truck. Like everybody's got something they want to move.
Everyone's got a question. Everyone's like, "Are you the expert on this?"
Yeah.
I could call a guy, and I'm going like, "I don't know. I mean, it looks okay."
Yeah.
But so having a kid, what's that? How has that kind of changed your day to day now?
Yeah, it's a new day to day. Everything is new. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know if you're supposed to say that as a parent, but
I think
I have no idea.
Every parent probably feels that at first, and then slowly just makes it up until the kid's old enough where they go like, "Hey, we didn't know what we were doing." So, however you
turned out fine.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah,
Nice.
music has been different with it. It would sort of be just like whenever I wanted to, I would do something. And,
Right.
Now it's more scheduled.
Now, how did you start doing? We'll kind of go back, and we'll get back to all the talk about your current life. But how did you start music? Were you playing in bands as a kid? What was your first experience with music?
Yeah, I started playing drums when I was very young, like maybe 10 or something. And I was in bands in like high school, just like regular high school kind of bands. I didn't start playing guitar until like after I graduated high school, I think.
Yeah. What was it about the drums? Why the drums specifically? Because that's guitar always makes sense because, it's kind of the glory instrument.
Right.
Drums, it's like a very specific, drums and bass. If you learn those, you want to learn those. It's a very specific path.
Yeah, it was, I just remember watching like MTV when I was a kid and like bashing on the couch along to songs, which eventually turned into my parents being like, all right, well, if you want to get a drum set, which was their worst idea ever. And they were like, why did we do this? We should have got him a quiet instrument.
No, that is like, you can't do anything. You can't hide from a drum set.
And you can't take it back once you open that box, so.
Who was your first like drum idol? Do you remember that?
Ooh.
Was it like a John Bonham kind of situation, or?
I mean,
MTV must have been.
Yeah, I don't know that I really had. I mean, probably Dave Grohl. I was really into Nirvana. I would say like the cliche John Bonham is like shaped the way I learned how to play drums, but probably not when I was young, not when I was 10.
But Dave Grohl makes perfect sense because the way that the kind of power that he exudes behind the kit, and especially on those early Nirvana videos, like where he's just sweaty and just hitting things
Hair
as
in
hard
the
as he
face,
can.
like.
Oh
and
yeah,
then-
any kid who is like predisposed to want to play drums and hit things with sticks
Mhm.
is going to look at that guy and be like, "Yo, I want to be part of that."
And he was a hard hitter. I was like, I need to copy how he does those things, and it's just like, yeah,
just wailing down
Yep.
as hard as you
punishing his drum set, basically.
can. Your parents have to replace the heads like every 3 days.
They were not happy.
It was it really that bad, or was it just like you were just so tough on the kid?
Yeah, it was very loud. There were times when they were like, "Hey, man, we can't today. Just don't, please. Like, figure out something else to go outside or something."
Yeah.
It's too loud.
They start handing you like wind chimes. Be
Yeah.
like, "Here, do something with that." I
Yeah.
don't know. Like that's easier.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever take lessons in drums, or was it just like
No.
went for it?
Yeah, I went for it. Once they bought me the drum set, I would just sit in the basement with headphones and just try to learn patterns of what people were doing.
Yeah.
It took I probably sounded terrible from all of it, but there was one day when it like clicked for me, like, oh, if I hear something, I can do it. Like I know if he's hitting a bass drum, I know if he's hitting a snare drum, kind of thing.
Do you remember what that day was? What the track was?
It was
or-
definitely Nirvana for sure, because I
Yeah.
played along to those records like almost every day. Yeah, just figuring out like when parts changed. I didn't really know anything about music, so like I didn't know like a chorus or a verse or anything, but knowing like anticipating when a change was going to happen and being able to do it,
Yeah.
you know, that was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, that kind of switch between just a guy hitting things to being like an amateur, you know, not professional obviously, but
Right.
but just you're getting to the point where you can say like, "Oh yeah, I'm a musician." That's a weird switch, especially the thing I always had was because for me it's starting playing saxophone, it was so limited to what I was learning in band class. I didn't really do the guitar, drum, bass thing, you know, like that way. So I had at one point, you know, you would listen to the records and you would try to play like people, but I would never really think to emulate anyone because it was all just like scales and stuff.
Right,
With
right.
drums, like sitting in your basement and actually getting to feel what that other person is feeling, you know, when you play. Is that kind of how you just kept learning, just kept playing along?
Yeah. And that eventually turned into drumming for bands. You know, in high school, we would write our own songs, and like being able to contribute to that in a way
Yeah.
was pretty heavy.
Do you remember the first song that you were sort of a part of writing, besides like just being the guy that's like, okay, John, write a drum part?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was a really good song. I'm guessing it was probably the best song you've ever written.
Probably. I mean, it
and
had to have
everything's just
been.
downhill from that.
Yeah, it starts at the top and then you roll down the hill. Yeah, it was probably one of those early high school songs where we sat around like we knew what we were talking about.
Yeah. You're like, man, we're just so deep.
Yeah. Obviously, we're gonna make it. So.
Oh God. Do you remember that feeling? I mean, I think every kind of young musician does, where you're in your first band and you look around the table and you say, guys, we could do this.
Like we figured it out.
we could make this happen. Like we could be famous.
Yeah.
It's like I listened to this podcast called The DIY Musician, and they talk about all these bands who say like, if we could just get our music in front of the Grammy committee, we'd win.
Obviously.
We'd
they would say
obviously
yes.
win. Did you have that kind of confidence growing up in these bands? Was it like all or nothing, do or die, you know, just everyone's going to go for it? Or was it like, we're here for fun?
I think it was the latter. Yeah. We didn't know about like touring or like playing shows. There was no like we weren't gung ho about it. It was sort of like an after school
Yeah.
kind of thing. We did play. I think we played like 2 shows maybe. I don't remember where they were. Actually, no. One of them was at the living room for sure. Way back in the day, it was like 1997 or something. It's 98. Maybe a little. I don't know. But that like we played like 2 shows. And like, all right, well we did it. So when do
Hey.
we make it?
Yeah, okay. Come here. Was it, what's the guy's name? I forget his name. Some big record executive.
Yeah.
Like, hey, come on, where's my money?
Where's the deal?
Now, what made you stick with it, though? Because obviously at some point everybody leaves, but you
Yeah.
stayed and kept going.
Yeah. After that high school band broke up, I mean, we all stayed friends, but everybody kind of moved for like college or whatever. And that's, I think, when I started playing guitar, because there was nobody else to play with.
Yeah.
For like playing drums, I didn't really, have a music circle. So I just started playing guitar, just to like do it for myself, kind of thing.
Yeah. So that you can actually write the songs and perform them.
Yeah, that came like way later. It was more like,
Oh, you were just doing
here's
like
one
covers?
song, can I learn it?
Oh, was it so? Were you trying to just learn covers? You just wanted to learn it.
Yeah.
There were no like aspirations to
No.
be a singer-songwriter or
Never.
anything.
Nope.
Really, I'm
No.
surprised.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I couldn't even play in front of, like, like if we had like family parties, whatever, at the house, and somebody like, oh, can you play a song? I'm like,
Oh.
Nope. Everybody has to not look at me, like turn around, and I'll like try to play a G chord.
What was it? Just like the insecurity of like
Oh, yeah.
I can't, or was it like a performance? Like I just don't want to be the center of attention.
Totally. And as a drummer, you can hide behind, like, there's
Yeah.
cymbals and things, but with a guitar, like, everyone's like,
Everyone's looking at you
Yep.
again. Just
do the
trying to
thing, or we're
stick-
paying attention to it. And I'm like, ooh, I don't care for that.
Did you always have that? Is that one of the things that you think brought you to the drums? Was like I can be a part of this thing, but I can also. I mean,
That was a comforting thing,
Right.
for sure.
Originally, you wanted to just be Dave Grohl or
Yeah.
play like Dave Grohl, but then you learn like, oh, well, I can just kind of disappear into the background.
And I still feel that to this day. Like, when I play drums with bands, I'm much more comfortable than
Yeah.
if I'm playing guitar and singing, or even like sideman guitar. It's like very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's a weird one because at some point everyone's gonna kind of look at you, but drums you can still
Totally in the background.
Now because you and I recently played on a gig together for Chrissy Stewart, and I mean I knew that you had always been playing, that you had played drums. I had kind of heard about it, but then you were on her record, House of Christina, and then I didn't realize how much drumming you do. Is that something you're really kind of in demand still for?
Yeah, I try to do it as often as I can, and it seems like rhythm sections in general, like bass players and drummers, are always in pretty high
Yep.
demand.
Yeah.
So even that show that we played led to a couple opportunities with other bands that are looking for drummers. So
Oh, really?
yeah, which I'm excited
I'm just
about.
going to say right now, kids, if you want to learn an instrument and you want to play a lot, learn bass or learn drums.
Yep, you
That
will
it-
never be out of work.
No, honestly, like because being a horn player or being a singer-songwriter with a guitar and singing, it's like you're always looking for somebody to play for or play with, I guess. But you're always looking for somebody to sit in, and then you have to deal with the like, are they really into it? This is my stuff, and you're trying to balance that. So
Yeah.
being a drummer and a singer-songwriter, do you come at it with a different perspective when either you're sitting in with people or you're having people sit in with you? Is there sort of like an understanding of where their mentality is on this? Or do you try to really kind of put yourself, because you know how hard it is to be the person in charge, you try to do your damnedest to make it good?
Yeah, I mean, knowing what it's like to be a front person and trying to put a band together. When I play with somebody on the drums, I'm like totally aiming to please. Like, whatever you need me
Yeah.
to do, I'll do it. Because I know it's like very stressful, and it's like same thing like you said. Do they like it? Are they into it? And especially on like a local music level, like you want to build people up. You don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard enough as it is. You want to make that person feel like what they did was awesome, because it is awesome.
Yeah.
You made up a song. That's crazy. Like, no, how many people make up songs? I mean, I guess a lot, but
But still, relatively, there's a lot of people in my life, and I'm sure in yours, where they hear a song of yours and they're like, "Oh my God, how did you even? I wouldn't have even put the piece. How did you? Where did you?"
right.
And you're like, "I don't know.
Just made it up.
It just kind of. It's a bunch of make 'em ups until you go like, well, here I
That
got
sounds
to.
cool.
Guess I got to write it down.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a preference? Do you think you would rather? Obviously, you like doing both, but is there one that you kind of prefer, being a drummer or being a singer-songwriter in the lead spot?
I definitely, since I started writing songs, that's definitely where most of my interest is, I think. I mean, the drums, I've got a very specific style. I'm not like technically proficient. I've never taken lessons or
Yeah.
anything. I can do like one thing. I can do it pretty well. I can keep rhythm.
Dude, I gotta say, all things being what they are, you do a great job. No, man, I know when we played together, and when I've just seen you in like rehearsals and everything and on other gigs, dude, it's solid. And that's one thing about drummers that I've played with a lot of drummers who can play a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's great. Sometimes that's really good. But other times, most times, you just want to lay down a groove. And the greatest drummers I played with know exactly that. And even if they're not as technically proficient as other drummers, still, if you have a good pocket and you got a good feel, which you do, that's what's going to get you gigs. And that's what's going to get you kind of lauded, as opposed to like other guys who are just like everywhere on the kit.
Right. And it depends, the situation, what kind of band and what kind of music they're playing. Anytime anybody asks me to do stuff, I'm like, just so you know, like this is what I am. I can't do anything more. Like,
come at it, be like, okay, here's a sheet.
Yep.
Here's a list of requirements that you might have, and here's what I can meet
here's
you with.
what I can do.
Yeah.
And if that's what you're looking for, I'm your guy.
Right.
I can lay back and play pocket drums all day.
I can frame a window, but I
if we're
can't
looking for like
sheetrock.
jazzy, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, that's good. I have a lot of respect for kind of knowing and appreciating those limitations, that even if they're only perceived, because I am famously, maybe in my own way, like because there's so many buttons on a saxophone, it's like you just want to hit them all at some point. I don't know if I think I'm getting paid that way, but so you just want to play.
Note. Yeah.
But speaking of because you really enjoy the songwriting, like you said, once you discovered that you could write a song, it's like, okay, well that's all. That's all there is. What was it like that kind of first time you wrote a song? Was it a trial, or did it kind of fall out of you, and that's why you're just kind of like chasing that from now on? Or was it like a hard, like, I got to work at this?
I think I probably thought it was awesome, and then looking back at so for the first songs that I ever wrote, for my 30th birthday, I booked time at a studio, Q Division up in Mass.
Yeah, great place.
And I took the tour and everything. I'm like, yeah, looks great. Let's book, my birthday, August 2nd, and I'll come in for a day or two, whatever it was that I booked.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, cool. And then I got home. I'm like, all right, I got to write some songs.
Crap. I'm about to drop a bunch of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was not a lot of time. It was, I think, maybe a month out that I booked it, and then I was like, yeah, I want to do like a 5-song like EP kind of thing. And they're like, all right, cool. Have you ever written a song before? I'm like, nah.
So this was before you had like learned guitar.
I could play guitar. I'd never had written a song. But I was like,
man,
it figures like my 30th birthday, it's a pretty good time to do it, like a now or never kind of thing. Like if I don't do it now, maybe I'll never do it. So I'm just going to book the time, and then I'll figure it out.
Dude, I actually did the exact same thing for my jazz album that we released last year. Was the exact same. Like, I'm turning 30. I mean, for me, I had been playing jazz, half my life at that point. And I was like, okay, well, you're not gonna feel any better about how you can play, 5 years down the line. Like, sometimes you're just gonna have to go for it.
Yep.
So it was the same thing. Just like, hey, man.
Yeah, I was like, I want to write songs. I don't know how to do it, but I'm not going to force myself to do it if I don't have like a hard deadline kind of thing.
Dude, and it totally worked out.
Well, they were not that great. And I mean, it was a really fun experience. I brought a bunch of amazing players in, and we had a really fun time. The songs were not that great.
Now, did you release that, or did you just say like, okay, this is step one?
I put it out on like a Bandcamp kind of thing, but it has since been redacted.
I choose.
I listen back to it, I'm like, ooh, no, that's a no.
But you know what though? Good for you for kind of having the guts to do that, because I think it's so hard to decide when you're going to make that first choice to like, okay, now I'm going to record, because you could write and write and write and write, but your songwriting is only going to get so much better throughout time. It just takes a lot of time to do it, and the kind of music industry we're in now, you need to be releasing things if you're serious about it, or you just want to put stuff out, people like when you keep kind of producing and producing, and
Yep.
the quality, not that you shouldn't release something that sucks, but the quality sonically doesn't really matter to people as much. I mean, obviously it matters to us who are releasing it, but it doesn't really matter in the way that it used to, where everything has to be uber polished and everything has to be so great.
Yeah.
But so after that kind of experiment, did you just caught the bug and just kept writing, kept coming up with stuff?
It's like I every time I wrote a song, I wanted my next one to be better. There was like a challenge kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's like once I wrote a song that I was like, oh, that's actually like I like that. It's pretty cool. I looked back at the other ones and was like, way off the mark. So
Yeah.
I need to like chase that like better and better and
Yeah.
better kind of thing.
Now,
So-
what was the first one that you thought like, okay, I hit something here?
It was so I actually used to come to the Parlour open mic religiously, like every Tuesday night for 5 years, maybe, whatever it was. And there were songs that I would play, like my older songs, that like it's interesting to get to see like what people react to and what they're like.
Yeah.
This is whatever. It's not that great. And there was a song that from that first EP that I did that people liked. They would be like, "Oh, you're gonna play that tonight?" Because it was like a cohort of people. Everybody that came, or I would say like a majority of the people that came, were all also playing. It wasn't
Yeah.
like people were coming in to see the open mic. Kind of
It was it was
You don't go
musicians
for the-
feeding
right.
them. So, yeah.
So we had a pretty strong cohort of really great songwriters that would come every single week, and we would like talk about each other's songs and stuff, and like ask to play. Oh, are you going to play this kind of song thing? So there was some that I would play that people would be like, oh, you should play that tonight. That was really good. And I'm like, I don't really like it that much, but whatever, I'll play it. And the first one that I wrote after that EP, which is the first song on the record that I have out,
Yeah.
I think that was the first one that I was like, I like this song.
Good.
The other songs I was playing them, but I didn't really like them so much.
Yeah.
And this one I was like, I like this. So yeah.
Yeah. And so then you decided you put it all on an album, because you released an album, what, in 2018?
18, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have you been thinking about recording anything else, or?
Ever since that one came out, I'm like, oh, I'll definitely have one done in a year
Yeah.
from that release. And then a year came, like, well, maybe like a year and a half.
Right.
And now it's 1920, almost 3 years.
Yeah, but now, I mean, one of those years in between, you also, go through a pandemic and have a child. So
yeah.
I'm sure that kind of pushes the timeline a little bit in a weird way.
Yeah. I've been writing intermittently. I mean, I don't really write like probably like I should. Like there's never like a day where I'm like, all right, I'm going to sit down and write today. It's
Yeah.
more just like a couple moments here and there kind of thing. So I'm like working on it. It's just I'm
Yeah.
not good at maintaining a timeline
No,
for it.
it's hard, especially with the way that your life is kind of shaken out now, where you have a whole new set of responsibilities,
Mhm.
new job, new stuff that you're doing. But I think, you clearly have something special here.
Thank you.
People have really responded to it. I don't like it at all. But
I hate it.
I hate it.
I was like, oh
No.
man, I got to interview this guy. God
I got to be honest with you. I kind of tuned out.
Mhm.
But no, I really like it. I know there's a lot of people out there that really want to support your music, so having more of it would be really good.
Yeah.
So if people were interested in following along your journey and getting the next update for when it finally drops secretly, like a Beyonce drop,
Mm-hmm.
where would they go to hear about these things?
My Instagram or Facebook. I have a website, but does anybody go on websites? I don't know.
God, I hope. I pay for Wix.
I just like it's like yelling in the woods.
Yeah.
Is anybody there? I'm anything that I do musically. That's the social media avenue is probably the easiest.
Awesome. What's your handle then?
John Farone on Facebook and Instagram. I think
Man.
I have a Twitter too, but I don't know if I've ever used it. So
You only use it for like pictures of food, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, that's Instagram.
that's what Instagram's for.
You're not
You're
doing
it
right.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, man, for sitting down, and especially for playing your tunes. It was really great
This
to
is
hear
a
you.
pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
So thank you once again for tuning into Motifs Between the Notes. We're sponsored by, of course, the Parlour here. We're also sponsored by R1 Entertainment Center, Bolt Coffee, Dash, and Trinity Brew Pub. Once again, my name is Ben Shaw. You can find more about me and my music at Benjamin Shaw Music or benjaminshawmusic.com.
He's also a fantastic musician and songwriter himself.
Yeah, okay, pretty, yeah.
It's true.
Pretty good, pretty darn good. I mean, one day we'll just have to have like a battle of songs. People don't do that anymore. We'll figure that out. That's Motif's next series that's coming up. Battle of the Songs.
Battle
Ben
of
versus
Acoustic
John.
Balladeers.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope to see you next time, and have a great day.